Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Dior, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 6. Just one battle for this week. As of recording this, this is the week of the cold snap, and I live in Texas, so this week has been very, very troublesome, to say the least. Also, I've been on a losing streak, so I'm tired for multiple reasons. So, I'll go ahead and summarize all my losses. First loss was 2 clocks back to back on a Lycoris and failing to kill a Bozal even with fixed damage from Angelina, which was really disappointing. Second loss was I sort of knew how Florentia worked, but not entirely. Then it was I forgot that Shaltier's extra action stuff doesn't work when her passive is disabled. And then we got to this match. So this match, I was kind of happy to see this box because it had a little variety to it. You can see a Betty in here. Betty does have her 3-cost skill, though I believe it's bugged, which doesn't help the fact that it's not that great to begin with. My opponent has Shaltier, kind of a little bit of everything, to be honest. Looks to be kind of like a striker type team. It looks like not really specialized in assassinations. It looks like it's just raw hitting. It almost looks like a box where you just grabbed a bunch of mercenary units and just went at it. Which, if my opponent got to go 3 that way, good for him. In any case, there is actually no juggler. I didn't even realize that. I've actually been banning Ares first and letting my opponent have juggler, which has both hurt me in many ways. In some cases, it worked out. So yeah, banned Ares first. Everything else is kind of workable. There is a Tensei Jessica. I did have one match where I had Tensei Jessica, but that was the match where I misunderstood how Florentia worked, and she ended up getting extra action and just kind of ruined everything for me. Anyway, my opponent banned Illustrial first. Not really too surprising. Went straight for Zerda. So my opponent has a physical tank as Betty, and then has Albedo as an all-rounder tank. Oh, also Landius. So there's plenty of tanks here. Not much in the form of healing, though. Really, the only primary healers are Lycoris, Florentia, and Rosenciel. So I was like, okay, whatever. I went ahead and banned Florentia because I did not want to deal with her extra action shenanigans. She's also a very potent healer if she can keep her strategies going. And of course, I got rid of young Tensei Jessica because her giving a teleport to my opponent would just be not smart. On top of extra actions, of course. Went ahead and grabbed my Freya. I did have an opponent that did open with banning my Freya first. It doesn't happen often, but it did. They banned my Deedlit and my Tensei Jessica. My Tensei Jessica usually gets second banned almost every match. Went straight for Albedo, so they have a tank. I was like, okay. Went ahead and took care of Lycoris because I didn't want to deal with any AoE stuff. I was a little torn on what to pick, to be honest, but I went ahead and went with Lycoris and Angelina because I didn't want to be knocked around or potentially be stunned. They let me have Zerda, so I was like, alright, I'll go straight for Zerda. That gives me more faction buff coverage. They went straight for Yulia. I was like, okay. At this point, I wasn't too afraid. I went ahead and got rid of old Landius and their SP Elwyn. So with that, since my opponent really has no legs besides Rosalia, and I guess technically Shaltier if you let her, I could actually safely snipe from here. So I was like, I'm all in for this. And their only healer is going to be Rosenciel. I was like, yeah, this should work out. Get my range here, and then of course I have my my assassin here to bypass guard. They went and banned my other tank and my Liana of all things. So I was like, alright. When they didn't pick a healer, they took Rosalia, so I was like, alright, well, you have no healer now, and I went ahead and took care of Shaltier, just to limit their legs even further. So essentially, their only other character that has any mobility is their Landius, which is a tank, and then of course there's Betty, who doesn't actually have any mobility, and also can't guard against magic. I'll hand grab my Sophie at this point, just so I can have a little well, I needed a healer at this point, and she's better. She's honestly better than Lycoris in my opinion, at least as far as how I play. They went with Betty, so I went ahead and grabbed Sheltier. Most of these tanks are swords, but Sheltier can definitely cleanse off buffs. Also, one thing to note about my opponent is my opponent doesn't really have any faction buffs. None. Not even Zerda. Zerda didn't even go with a faction buff. Went Bloodbath for whatever reason. It's possible that their Zerda isn't fully built yet. It's like stat-wise, they're probably not fully built. And Yulia is just a standard Yulia. I did make one small mistake. I should have went with Redeemers and not Phalanx in this fight, but that's fine. Betty here actually has her 3-cost stuff, so she actually self-reses from AoEs, but I don't use any AoEs. Standard Albedo here, and then the Rosalia is a standard one with Holy Pegasus rather than Cavalry. Nothing too special here to point out. It's just a standard kit. So the biggest concern was the Zerda. That was the one that had the highest mobility, so I was actually pretty aggressive in the very beginning, for better or for worse. So the one thing I counted immediately, because I wanted to move Zerda as far up as possible, just so I can get as much coverage to try to limit how far their opponent's Zerda can go. This kind of bites me in the butt later, but I went ahead and counted the steps here. So Rosalia can go to here, Chivalry to here, and then she can throw out a sword. But she only gets her passive buff if there's an enemy within 2 rings, and this is beyond 2 rings. 2 rings will be here. So I was actually safe here. I didn't have to worry about Rosalia suddenly attacking me. So I was like, alright, I'll move up. Also, just while I'm at it, there we go. So unfortunately, my opponent didn't count steps correctly, and so they ended up ending turn here. So I wasn't sure how tanky my opponent was going to be. So I went with Sheltier first. I think, honestly, I should have opened with Young Jessica. I think Young Jessica would have gotten the kill. I mean, Sheltier at least had her faction buff. Young Jessica didn't. So it's possible that it wouldn't have been enough. It's really hard to say. Because defense and magic defense-wise, they were actually kind of the same. So I think Sheltier was kind of stuck with using Purifying Javelin. Also, I just wanted to dispel buffs. Also, this ended up... I dispelled her immunity to all debuffs that she got from Chivalry, so I was able to apply debuffs to her, including Curse of Wounding. Of course, that doesn't really matter because they don't have any healers besides Yulia's passive heals. So unfortunately, I didn't get the kill. And Rosalia being there actually blocks my Zerda and gave their Zerda actually more coverage. So it actually put my Zerda in danger. My intention was to try to suppress their Zerda, and instead I ended up just exposing her to theirs. So it was a little bit of not the best decision. I went straight for Roselash here. I was just seeing if I can get the kill. Honestly, if I had opened with Sophia healing Freya first, it would have done enough. It might have done enough damage to get a kill, because I would have had 30% defense then, as well as increased magic defense. But finally, I was like, fine, I'll just use Young Jessica and get the kill. I can attack from 6 spaces. She's exactly, even with Wind Wall, it doesn't matter. So yeah, also if Wind Wall had procced, I wouldn't have gotten the kill that way either. At least not without a faction buff. So right now, I believe Sheltier and Zerda are both exposed to their Zerda. My Sheltier could probably tank the shot, because she has 70% reduction on damage. My opponent does have backstab, so it's going to do extra damage. She doesn't have faction buff, like I mentioned before. But Bloodbath will also give a minor buff and attack and all that, so it's going to be a little trade-off here. Gets the kill easily. But now one thing the other reason why I attacked with Sheltier earlier was just to get a stack of her Frenzy. That way I could kill Zerda here. I went all in on this one even though I didn't really need to. And then Blood Frenzy will trigger and I can get out of range. So it's 3 on 4 at this point. I ended up getting a breeze proc on top of my passive, so I have 4 mobility on my young Jessica at the moment. Finally got up my faction buff. Got breeze on Sheltier of all things. So I believe she has 8 mobility now. So with the 4 mobility, I was able to get within 6 range of their Albedo. One-shotting her. She doesn't have a faction buff, so all she has is her, like her 3-cost guard doesn't actually increase her defenses at all, so this was just a raw hit. So burned her self-res. Started moving up, hit rewind. It's pretty much refreshed everything. So Iron Fist will move up, or Betty will move up with Iron Fist. Went ahead and just finished off Albedo at this point. Their Yulia is completely out of range, so I'm not in any sort of danger. Got Breeze again. Rose Lash. Now the fixed, I'm pretty sure Yulia is fixed damage immune, but since she has different, her troops are different from her class type, I can actually bypass it with Rose Lash, so a little extra damage there. Purifying Javelin here. This was mainly just to remove some buffs, as well as just get some damage up. Also, now she can't self-heal. Well, Betty can't self-heal, but Yulia can't passively heal her now. I backed away just in case things go wrong. Just like if Betty moved up and did her like 3-cost or whatever. So yeah, since she has different troop types, she can't be immune to the 6 damage, so I actually did quite a bit of damage to her just from raw fixed damage here. Also, since I did fixed damage ahead of time, it actually disables her talent, so she couldn't actually self-heal. So at this point, my opponent was already giving little messages that I was like saying, you know, I'm so dead and all that good stuff, and needless to say, he gave up at this point. So like I said, just a short and sweet match here. Like I said, it's been a rough week. Been busy with all sorts of stuff, and the whole losing power for multiple days and dealing with frigid temperatures was certainly not helpful. My Tensei Jessica should become 4 stars soon. I've actually been working on Tensei Jessica Noemi, who's about to hit 5 stars, and been working with Rose and CL. Haven't really gotten a chance to really decide to use Florentia yet, but maybe I'll use her in the future. I haven't decided yet. I might just wait until Hilda comes out. Then again, Hilda will probably just get banned. Sorry about that, clicked off screen for a bit. Anyway, other than that, there's not much else to really point out. It's still the Valentine's event. Other than that, really, I'm just kind of going through the motions. Actually, I did get really lucky on some drops. I got another Last Rites, which I don't know if I've given it to somebody yet. I also got a King. Yeah, so yeah, I have a spare Last Rites. As you can see, this will be my 6th one. I also have a King's Crown, which I don't actually... The problem with King's Crown is it's really good, but all the people that can equip it usually end up getting their exclusive item as a helmet, so it actually makes it really difficult to find someone to put it on. And yeah, besides that, I've just been kind of going through the motions. So until then, I am the Depressed Dealer. This was Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 6. See you guys later.